You're listening to Storage Nerds Podcast, where we unravel the best-kept secret of the real estate investing world, the storage industry. Join the grassroots guru in self-storage, Stacy Rossetti, in insightful discussions about finding, funding, and running these spaces, allowing you to yield the highest returns possible. Get your foot in the door on self-storage and discover how to properly purchase facilities, negotiate with sellers, and close the deal without worries. Start unpacking that investment wisdom with Stacy right now.
All right, so I am Stacy Rossetti. I teach people how to invest in self-storage. If you want to get into this industry and you really don't know what to do or how to do it, I am the person that's going to help you to do that. And then also what I'm going to do today is I'm going to go over your competitive analysis and really how to look at competitors. And I'm going to go over competitors, and I'm going to kind of show you how we do our competitive analysis and, kind of give you an idea of what you should be looking at when you have competitors. So when I teach on Wednesdays, I teach either finding them, funding them, running them, or deal analysis. This week is running them, right? It's going to help a lot with the finding them, but it's also going to help you with the running. So I was talking to a student. I was doing I'm sorry. I'm trying to get these notifications off because they're just annoying me. I was doing office hours for a student yesterday. I was talking to her, and basically she was just the question was, which I think is a question that everybody kind of asks themselves, when they're looking at facilities, is what if the market is oversaturated? Is there a possibility that there's too much storage? Okay. And so that's kind of what our conversation was. She's looking for a facility to buy. She's telling me that wherever she looks, there's always a lot of storage facilities. And she's really kind of scared that there's too many storage facilities and there's just not there's not a lot of possibility of growing the facility. Has anybody ever thought that? Put this in the chat if you've thought this before. If you looked at the competition, you say, okay, how do I know if it's oversaturated, or what if it's oversaturated? Okay, so that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. And the truth of the matter is when I got into storage investing, it was in 2015. It was a long time ago, 2015, 2016 was when I started really getting into this. And back in the day, those are the good old days. Back in the day, there was just not a lot of competition. Maybe in the primary markets, you had competition. You had a lot of bigger players and stuff. But, I was just like you. I was just trying to get into the game, and I was in tertiary markets, maybe secondary, but, secondary to tertiary markets. So I wasn't really when you were thinking about storage, you weren't thinking about marketing. You weren't thinking about competitors as much as you are now. So what happened from 2015 to now is that, obviously the storage industry is super hot and everybody's getting into it. Everybody wants to get into it. And a lot of storage facilities are being built. And for some reason, a lot of people need storage, so a lot of moving around, especially with COVID. People were moving from one place to the other, and then storage just came this super hot commodity, and and it just boomed. Okay, so when I got started in 2015 to 2020, nobody was thinking about storage investing. Actually, everybody was like, "Oh yeah, storage. Yeah, I'm interested in storage," but nobody actually really was buying facilities, and so except for just the oldies kind of in the industry. When you get into this industry, you have, I would say anybody before 2020 is considered an oldie. Now you do have a lot of people that have owned facilities for a long, long time, but they weren't active in the industry. There's a lot of mom and pops that maybe own one or two facilities local and stuff like this. And then 2020, that became a real estate investing thing. So a lot of people started getting into it. And now you have all these players like you guys all thinking about getting into storage. But, you just kind of on the tail end of the high. So marketing for us, like when I was owning facilities up until 2020, like our marketing really was make sure your sign is up, make sure, and then, you do some things that are local for the community. And like, just like then maybe make sure your drive-bys are good, make sure you're getting calls. It wasn't really that difficult, honestly, to get people to move in back in the day. Okay. So marketing wasn't that big of a deal. Now, if you talk to somebody, maybe like a bigger player that had like 100,000 square feet or 50,000, I mean, they had to do some marketing. But honestly, when I was like before 2020, I talked to many, many owners, and this you still find this where they did not do any marketing at all. And we still see this to this day. And so, like, what we do is we've called almost every storage facility in the country, and talked to a lot of owners over the past couple of years. And the way that it works right now is like when you're going into an industry, when you're going to an area and you see that there's a lot of storage facilities, what you have to look for and what you want to analyze is how many storage facilities there are in the area, right? And and then keep a tally kind of like within, depending on if it's a 1, 3 or 5 mile radius, or even a 10-mile radius if it's like super tertiary, how many facilities are in that area. So in the storage industry world, you really think about like radius and how many facilities are in that radius. And then what you do is you look at your population of that radius. Okay, so your total square footage of all the storage facilities in that radius plus the population of that radius. If you divide those out, you'll get a number which is just called your net capita per square foot. I'm not going to write this down. I'm just going to talk about it, but I'm going to show you kind of how we do our competitive analysis so that you guys have an idea. So your total amount of storage within a certain radius of your facility, and then the total population of that really gets what's called your net capita per square foot. And some people say that you should be between 6 and 8, but honestly, that number to me is just a bunch of BS. We don't really go by that number because the truth of the matter is the way that the world is working right now on the ownership side. Okay. This is after COVID. What's it called? Not pre-COVID, but after COVID. And so is that like what I call the best marketer wins. Okay, so this is really when marketing started to come into play, because what happened during COVID is that we all had to become remote as owners. We all had to become like, online. We all had to have ways of doing what we call contactless, like reservations or like moving people in without like meeting them at all. And I'm going to tell you, for the most part, I would say probably 80% of all storage facility owners were not contactless pre-COVID, like pre-2020. So like during the COVID period, they really struggled. Even bigger players, like even REITs, like CubeSpace and CubeSmart and Extra Space, whatever they're called. All these kind of players, they really struggled during that time because you went in, you signed a contract, and then you went to your unit. Okay. And so like this whole kind of concept started happening during COVID. And so then remember, so now all these players that were not online, did not have this contactless system, all had to create this or do this during those like couple years that they owned this facility. Like they had to figure this out. Or what happened is they just sold their facility. Okay. So like I talked to one owner, and she was just like, this COVID totally screwed up my whole company. She's like, I can't even meet people anymore. She's like, it's all automated. She'd owned this facility forever. And that kind of mindset really happened a lot during COVID. And so I would see like two different types of owners. The ones that kind of could pivot. And remember, I don't know if you guys remember during COVID, like pivot was kind of a really big word, especially in the real estate industry for us. Like, and I talked a lot about pivoting for those 3 years. It was like, you have to be able to just be on top of it. Whatever the industry calls for is kind of where you're at, right? And, but a lot of owners that had owned their facilities for a long, long time, they couldn't pivot. Because they had just been stuck in their ways and stuff, right? So they ended up selling. And so that's kind of how everything transformed with COVID. Okay. And luckily for us, like in 2015, so we signed up, we got started with StoreEdge in 2015, which is the property management software. And like, I'm telling you, like, everybody talks about StoreEdge now, but in 2016, 2017, StoreEdge only had 3 people working for it. It was pre-storable. And it was like a super basic software. I mean, you can just think about how much StoreEdge has changed from like 2015 till now. It's like in 10 years, I've seen these changes, and it's become this like massive like enterprise because everything is done now online. You know what I'm saying? So they were one of the biggest softwares that kind of grew from being like a super, like, just, hey, let me call you up and talk to you and ask you a question, to, I need to go through this process and it's going to take like weeks and weeks and weeks to onboard and stuff. So a lot of stuff happened during time. We went through all those pains, those growing pains, and we were very good at pivoting. I picked StoreEdge, and we were there with StoreEdge as StoreEdge pivoted and really kind of just meshed well with what the owners wanted. Owners either sold their facilities or they pivoted, and they really kind of like went online and really started to, figure out online marketing. And also, this is when Sparefoot was born. So if you haven't heard of Sparefoot is a marketing tool for owners. And Sparefoot was owned by Storable as well too. So during this time is really when Sparefoot was started and started really getting kind of like, it was super small, but started getting bigger and bigger and bigger. As COVID started, everybody went on to Sparefoot, because Sparefoot is an online marketing tool for owners. Is what it is. They made I'm sure they made a lot of money off of us. They still do, but probably not as much anymore, because what's happening now is all these different tools are coming out to learn, to be good at managing your facilities online. And so the whole point of all this rambling and what I'm going on is that right now, if you want to be a successful storage facility owner, you must be good at online marketing. Okay? You have to understand. This is like our conversations internally are Google ads, Facebook ads, YouTube ads, SEO, and then like how many move-ins, how many move-outs, what's my net move-ins, what's the price per conversion, how much is my conversions? And like, how much is all my marketing costing me in order to get like a phone call coming in and somebody actually being converted? Okay. And that most people do not understand this. Okay. Right now, if you're a newbie, especially. But the truth of the matter is that if you want to get into this industry and you want to be successful in this industry, you have to learn about all what I just said. The words coming out of my mouth, you got to be able to understand them and the concepts behind them. Okay. And I would say for the most part, most of the owners do not understand this. All right. So when you are looking for facilities to buy and you're doing your deal analysis and you're doing your competitive analysis, doing your competition analysis should be including what marketing that your competition is doing. Okay. And this is like a brand new concept that like most people, I would say, are not looking. So when you're looking at a deal and you're going on Crexy, or you're calling owners the way that I teach, or however you're doing, and you're compiling all the numbers that you need in order to run deal analysis. Okay. One of the things that you have to do, not just what's the income, what's the NOI. Every time I talk to somebody, is this the NOI? Is this the income? It's like, that's like, they're always thinking about that. And the truth of the matter is that's only half of what you should be looking at, right? What you really honestly should be looking at is exactly what I said, in the radius of where your competition is. Primary markets are 1 mile. Secondary markets are 3 miles. And tertiary markets are 5 to 10 miles, depending on where you're at. How many storage facilities are in that location? And what's the population of that radius? All right, so that you can figure out what your net capita per square foot is. But the truth of the matter is a lot of storage facilities still are not even online. Or if they are online, that's it. That's all they're doing, is they just they got ESS or they got storage, and they have this website that ESS and storage provide. All right. And that's all, like, that's all the online presence that they have. Or maybe they have a Google presence, but the Google presence maybe sucks. Right. And I talk about this a lot in my trainings and stuff, but like, your Google presence is like one of the most important things that you could be doing in order to get customers. I would say probably on the top of what you're doing, Google presence is like number 1. SEO is number 2, right? Because your SEO is going to affect what your Google presence is going to be. And then third is going to be your website, right? And then fourth will be the ads that you're doing, either Google ads, Facebook ads, YouTube ads, all this kind of stuff. But your Google presence, and Apple is trying to compete with Google, and they're really trying to create this Google, this presence as well too. And so we really focus on our Apple presence as well. Okay. And like, how good because the iPhone uses the Apple Maps, right? So it's like, make sure that you're looking at your Apple Maps versus your Google Maps. What do those two look like? Sometimes they're the same, sometimes they're not, and trying to make sure that you're set up on Apple and that your SEO is working also for that. And it doesn't matter if you are in a tertiary market or a secondary or a primary market. This has to be done. So if you're sitting here and you're thinking, I will never do that. I will never be the person that manages online marketing. I will never be the person that understands conversions and understands how to do all that. Like, that's just not my thing. You're either going to be like not successful and you should not pursue this industry, or you're going to have to buy a facility where you can afford to hire somebody to manage that for you. Okay. And little tiny tertiary facilities will not do that. So yesterday I had somebody like message me, and he wants to buy a $200,000 facility. It was like, it was like 20 units for like $175,000. And I told him, no, he's not going to buy that for sure. But, but like those little tiny facilities, I mean, he was only going to make like $800 a month. I mean, you got to be the person that's doing everything in a facility like that. Okay. And, and he just said, like, this is not like, that's just not something that he's going to be able to do. He's got a full-time job and stuff. And it's like, well, then you need to be looking at like totally different facilities that are making more money and you can afford that. So when you're looking at deals and you're doing your deal analysis, this is what you have to be thinking about now. So when I was talking to my student yesterday, and she was like, I'm really nervous about how all the saturation. I just feel like there's too many facilities. When you're looking at your competitor, like when you're looking at your deals and you're looking at whether or not you should be, buying something of that, you don't want to just go off of your net capita per square foot, because if you do, you're going to shoot yourself in the foot. Okay. Because a lot of times it's like way over, like 10 or 12 or 15 or whatever, and so what you want to do is you want to look at your competitors and what kind of marketing that they're doing, and really analyze the competitive, like the competition's marketing. All right. And so we have it on the deal analyzer where you can keep track of like some of the stuff that they're doing on our deal analyzer. But what you want to do is for each facility, you want to keep track of, do they have a Google business listing? All right. And like, how many stars do they have on their Google business listing? And how many reviews do they have on their Google business listing? Right. And do they have, are they posting on a regular basis their information, right? Because Google works off of just, how much engagement that you're getting. Not engagement, but I guess posts or like, I guess updates is what you want to say. Like Google really kind of brings you closer to the top and really pushes your facility if you're more engaged and doing a lot more updates on your Google business listing. Okay. And so that's like number one. And so you want to keep track on all the competition that you're looking at. You want to keep track of each competitor, not just their prices, but also what their marketing is. So Google business listings is number one. And then number two is going to be like SEO, right? So when you look at the competition, where is your competition? Which one of the competitors that you have are coming up on the first page? Okay. Which ones do you have so that when you list out the facilities that your competitors, you're putting like the Google business listing looks great and they're on the first page, right? And then they also have a website, okay? And they also have some like a Google ad. And I'll show you how you can figure this out, but like that's kind of like, those are the boxes that you're checking. It's like, yes, they have a Google ad. Yes, they've got a Google business listing. Yes, we have a website, this kind of thing. And I'm going to tell you, like, let's just say that you're in like a 3-mile radius and you're looking at all the storage facilities within 3 miles, and there's 5 or 6 of them. Out of those 5 or 6, like maybe 1 or 2 are going to actually be doing this. And so for me personally, competitors are those that are marketing the best. That's what a true competitor is. If you have somebody that's the cheapest in town, and he's been the cheapest in town for years and years and years, I can guarantee you his prices are low and he doesn't really have any vacancy anyways. He's really not a true competitor. You don't really want to be using his numbers, right? His prices. You want to be looking at the competitors that are doing the ads, doing the marketing. Their prices are higher. They have promos. Another thing that you look at is their promos. That's another thing. Yeah. So promos. What promos are they doing? And then actually another thing that you can look at too, I haven't written any of these things down. So I'm in my RV, just so you guys know. I'm in Miami. I'm actually on vacation right now, and we're about to leave and go to the Keys, and we're going to go snorkeling in one of the dry tortugas, and we're going to go snorkeling and stuff. We're leaving tomorrow, but so I can't write anything. I don't have my whiteboard or anything like that today, so that's why I'm just rambling. So for the competitors, you can have like a spreadsheet. You can either use the deal analyzer for this, take notes, or you can do a spreadsheet where it's like, okay, here's all the competitors. And yes, they have a Google business listing. They have promos. And another thing I was going to say about the promo or about the pricing, that's another thing that you want to check is their price. Is the price like just a flat rate? And I'm like, oh, like all my 10 by 10s are always $45. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, so this person, like whoever's managing this facility, does not understand the concept of marketing and does not understand the concept of yield management and does not understand the concept of dynamic pricing. Those 3 things, which are the 3 most important things that you can know as a facility owner. And I've talked about that like several times, so y'all can always go back, listen to my podcast and stuff. But those are the three main things. And so it's like, you want to keep track of that. You want to understand your competitors. You want to see what your competitors are doing, because if you have 5 or 6 or 10 competitors, all of a sudden in your mind, just like my student, she was just like, I can't buy a storage facility because there's too many storage facilities in the area. But the truth is, may the best marketer win. All right. That is how this game is played in the industry now. All right. I wish it was back in 2015 where I could just put up a sign. And that's where I used to teach too. I was like, man, it's so easy, because it was easy. I'm going to tell you, it's not easy anymore. You have to learn how to online market. You have to understand the strategies behind it. And if you don't, then you're going to lose. Okay. Any thoughts or questions on that? Put it into the chat for me so I can answer those questions. So visually, you're going to have a spreadsheet with all your competitors, not only their prices, and you're going to compare the prices, which is the way that we've been doing it up till now. But like now we need to really start honing in on the marketing strategies that the competitors are doing. All right. Do they have a Google business listing? Do they have any promos? What are their prices? Do they understand yield management? Because what happens in yield management is that, like, the way it works is, if you're 90% full, if you're 90% full, then your price is this. If you're 85% full, your price is this. If you're 80% full, your price is this. So that's what I'm talking about, yield management. All right. So based on your inventory and how much inventory that you have is what your prices should be. And that is really a percentage. All right. It's a percentage. It's not a number. So that's why when you go to CubeSmart and you look up in your area that you want a 10 by 10, it's going to say $125.87 or something like this, right? Because like they're basically setting it up. So like, oh, we only have 2 left. Those 2 are super hot commodities right now. If I had 20 left, that would be a totally different price. Okay. So that's kind of how it is. So somebody asked, Johnson asked, what is the 3 KPIs? I can't remember anymore. Who has those? I can't remember anymore. This thing popped up again. It's so annoying. The 3 KPIs are going to be the online marketing. Is it online? Is the marketing, right? Or can they market? How do they market? All the different ways they can market. Do they understand yield management? Right? Do they understand dynamic pricing? Okay. That's kind of how it is. And then the 4th thing I talk about is like rent increases, right? Which is not what we're talking about, because we're talking about marketing, looking at the marketing. You can tell if they understand yield management and dynamic pricing by going to their website and looking at their prices. Okay. So I'll share with you mine real fast. Let me see if I can pull these up here. So this is one of our facilities. Mission Self Storage is our brand. Okay. And so like I just came to our Macon facility, and so you can see here that, we've got, it's $12.80. It's normally $25.60. All right. So 5 by 5s. And we have a promo first 3, right? Which is the first 3 months for 50% off, right? Right here. So we've got the 4th of July sale, which we're going to change to the Christmas and July sale. And then it's going to say now, get 50% off for the first 3 months. That's kind of our promo that we use, is 50% off the first. I'm shaking the computer, but that's the promo that we use. We tested the dollar move-in and the 50% off, and it just, for us personally, we noticed that people take this 50% off the first 3 months more than the dollar move-in. But you can see on our prices. So now you're looking at this and it's like, why do they have such weird prices? And it's something that I'm sure people are asking when they're looking at websites, is why is it always so weird? Why can't you just be like $30 or whatever, right? And this is because our numbers, our pricing is based on it's yield management, which creates what's called dynamic pricing. So you can say, like, when you look at something like this, we're at a certain like percentage full. And once we get to another percentage, then that number will change. If we have the last two facilities, the last two units available, that's like at a different percentage. That's what I'm saying. Okay. So this is something like if you were doing competitive analysis on me, you'd be able to tell that I understand this. Now, when you're looking at the website, you can see there is a sale, there's a promo, and there's dynamic pricing. This to me, if I was buying a facility in Macon, I would say this is like a real competitor. They understand marketing. They really understand what they're doing, right? But when you go to a website where it's like, just $50 for a 10 by 10, then, you can just say they don't do it. Now, like Store Edge is a software that allows you to do dynamic pricing. They allow you to do like all different kinds of pricing sequences. You can have website prices, calling prices, promo. And you have all different kinds of pricing, and yield management is kind of intertwined, right? But I say most of the other softwares do not allow that. So what happens is if they don't allow yield management, and you can just set it up to be automatic. So this is not something, why is this not stopping? Okay. You can set this up to be automatic. But if you can't, like if you're using ESS or whatever software that doesn't allow dynamic pricing, then you have to manually do it. So I had a student that bought like a huge facility, like 630 doors, and like was using ESS. And like after a while, like halfway through, she switched over to Store Edge just because of that reason. It's because she was manually having to go in and like update prices on all her units. And she had like 20 different units. It was just a lot of work. So you have to think about that too. Like, when you're getting out there and looking at facilities, because it's a lot of work to do the dynamic pricing, but we have it all automated. All right. So it's all automated through Store Edge. So we don't even think about it. Okay. But anyways, in terms of the marketing, I wanted to make sure that you knew that you could look at this. Now, y'all could just go to my website at any time, just come to this mission self-storage and play around with it and kind of just see, like what we're doing, because it's a very good, and that's something I love to do is look at like other storage facilities websites. And what you do is you scroll down to the bottom. Okay. And if you see like Storable or, whatever Hummingbird or whatever they're called, like, that's the website that like just the software gets, like the generic website that everybody gives you. I'm not sure if we can find any of those anywhere. And we'll see if we can do that. Macon Storage. Look, here's my competitors. So now look, I just looked up Macon Storage. And there's CubeSmart, Devon Storage, right? So I know Devon Storage. I know CubeSmart. They know what they're doing, right? But what's Devon Storage? This is some storage facility, right? It's like, okay, I need to make sure that I'm looking at their marketing because they are going to be a true marketing competitor, okay? StorageMaster.biz is a good one here. Free Up Storage. So it's like, I need to be looking at these, seeing what they're doing. You know what I do too? Another thing that's really good is I become a tenant in my competitors. Once I buy the facility, I become a tenant. And then I start getting all the emails and stuff, which is a secret. So don't tell anybody I do this. But and then I start getting all their emails and text messages and stuff. I really start looking at what my competitors are doing, especially these ones like Devon Storage or Free Up Storage. And then I get all their emails and I'm like, oh, that's how they're contacting people. That's the promos that they're doing and stuff like this, So once you buy a facility, that is something that you can do as well too for the good competitor. Okay. But again, so I was going to bring up, let me just see if I can pull up, hang on, all my facilities. Let's see. I'll go into general. I'm going to just pull up this deal analyzer. I'm going to kind of show you, like on our deal analyzer, we have kind of sort of a way that you can, grabbers. No, I don't want to do that. Let me go back. You can kind of do market analysis. So let me download this and open it up. This is just like one of our facilities. This is actually not a mission self-storage facility. It's another one because we have 3 different brands actually. It's kind of a lot. Okay, this is a brand new computer too, so my apologies. I'm still trying to figure it out. I bought this computer because I bought this laptop because my other laptop, like the camera and the audio wasn't working. So I bought this right before I left. Okay. Okay, so let me share this, and then I'm still like just playing around with it. Okay, I got it. Hopefully. Okay, so this is our deal analyzer. You can go onto our website and you can buy this. All right, anybody can do this. And this is the best deal. I love this deal analyzer. It's so easy for anybody that doesn't know what they're doing. Get the deal analyzer. It comes with a course. It shows you like step by step how to fill it out. But this is our competitors. This is the competitive analysis. And this is really this and eventually, hopefully, one day we'll be able to add a couple more things here. But you can see here that, like for this facility, there is 7 competitors. We have their phone number. Just let me know if you can't see it, but I think nobody's saying anything. But you have the phone number, the website, and if they're full, right? And if they have any type of promo, like she's putting here promo, none. This is something that's like no website is here. Okay. You have the address, and then you have, do they have their Google business listing? Look at this. They don't even have their Google business listing. All these facilities here. Okay. And this is how far away they are from us. And this is their gated office square footage. And then, of course, we do the price comparison. Now, everybody, we all know to do the price comparison, but let's start doing more of the marketing comparison, right? So eventually, once we have enough time, which is not this year for sure, but maybe next year, we'll be adding like some more tabs here, which would say like, okay, they have a Google business listing, but do they also have a website? We got website. But, do they have any ads, Google ads, which is actually something I could tell her to add. I could put this here. Like if they have any ads, I'll tell her just put this right here. And any promos. So we started adding the promos. But essentially, I feel like Google business listings, promos, ads, website, and SEO, like anything like that, is like kind of the 5 big things. Did I miss anything that I've mentioned over and over? Just put it into the chat because I can't remember. Or kind of the 5 big things. And what I would do on my deal analyzer is just kind of use this space here to put all that information in so that you have it. And then here is the total square feet. You see how she's adding this up? She's adding in all of the square footage for every property. And then within a like 6-mile radius, this is how much we have. Okay. So that we can look at, so then we can figure out the net, the net capita per square foot. We can do that by adding the square footage. And then at the same time, we can keep notes here on all the different types of marketing that the owners are doing. And then I would say that like these ones right here that don't even have a Google business listing, to me, are really not even true competitors. I'm going to tell you, this facility, we always have a wait list for. Always have a wait list. And there is a lot of storage facilities you can see in this area. So, and it's not a there's like 15,000 people, the population of this entire town. So this is a very small town. And there is quite a few storage facilities, and because of how we make sure that we are always on top of the list, we're always, let me just see if I can y'all share this? I see it. Okay, good. Just making sure. Okay. I'm going to go into my Google, and let's just look up Americus and see kind of what we're doing. Americus, Georgia storage. Let's see how we're doing. Okay, let me share my screen. Is this where I'm supposed to be? No, this is not where I'm supposed to be. Where is Google? Here it is. So now I did Americus. We don't want American. I want Americus, Georgia. Americus, Georgia storage. Okay, so you can see sponsored is automated self-storage. I don't know where automated self-storage. So I'll see that here. Here's all of our facilities. And then, so sponsored means that they're doing an ad, a Google ad. Okay. And this right here. So this, like the way it works with Google, make sure y'all can see this. Okay. Just let me know. But, the way that it works is like, cause we also do Google ads, and, But like, if there's more than one company doing like a Google ad, they just kind of switch it up as they do. So like when I pull it up, I don't see mine a lot, but I do see Miss Lily in self storage. So this is our facility right here coming up. Okay. And then we can scroll down. Storage Americas is coming up at the top. Outpost Storage, Store More Americas, right, is coming up. So this is SEO. To get onto the first page is SEO. That's what you have to be working on. And then U-Haul and actually Store More is the name of it. But they're marketing through. So Store More uses the U-Haul software. So U-Haul has like a software. And so that's kind of how it comes up. It always comes up under like, so if you see it this way, that's kind of how it works. And it's very basic software. But a lot of people, like a lot of owners that just own one facility, they use like the U-Haul stuff because it gets marketed through U-Haul is kind of how they do it. And then here's ours, Miss Lillian's. And then Suburban Storage comes up, Outpost. And then here's Sparefoot. I told you about Sparefoot. Storage.com is owned by Sparefoot, just so you know. It's the same stuff. And then you've got Storage Rentals of America is sponsoring an ad. And then you've got Cordell, which is kind of farther away a little bit, is sponsoring an ad. So it's good to look at this stuff. Look, selfstorage.com, we're coming up. We've got this coming up. And so it's good to look at it. And then when you're doing your competitive analysis and you're filling out the deal analyzer and you're putting all the prices in, you need to make notes of what you're seeing. Look, Georgia Cold Storage comes up, right? So you want to make notes of what you're seeing because if they're actually coming up, especially if they're a sponsored ad, then they know what they're doing. Okay, for sure. All right. So that is kind of what I'm thinking about for marketing. And eventually we'll kind of update the deal analyzer to have a little bit more fields and stuff. But for now, we kind of just squeeze it all in because that deal analyzer, we've been using that for a couple of years now. So like the marketing portion and doing the marketing analysis, like I'm talking about, is really kind of a newer concept, even for us. And it's really like for mom and pops and stuff like, CubeSmart and Extra Space, they were all doing that. But CubeSmart and Extra Space, they have to compete with people like us now. Like we're like their competitor and they're our competitor. And it's not that you can't beat them because I'm in secondary markets and we're getting filled up in our secondary markets and stuff, but it's a different type of game. But you want to make sure that you're looking at who's doing what type of marketing and how they're marketing themselves and how well do they know. So actually, let me go back to this page. I want to look here and see. So let's just say that we click on like Outpost Storage. They have their website. Okay. So then here's the Outpost Storage. This is indoor climate control. This is really not competition. If it's indoor climate control and we have outdoor climate control, that's really not competition. But this website, this is the exact same website that everybody uses. All right. And look at this. Outpost Storage is powered by Store. That's what I was talking about. So like when you use ESS or Store Edge, like you're going to get a website that looks like this. Everybody's storage facility looks like this. And, and then this is not good SEO. Like this is not going to make it come up and stuff like this, because if you have the same website for 5 or 10 facilities in the same area, Google's just like ignores you is what they do. So that's why we ended up eventually, because we were using Store Edge, and then once it started getting bigger and there's a lot more players, we ended up just making our own website is what we did, and kind of just went away from using Store. And we get a lot of move-ins. We get a ridiculous amount of move-ins. Honestly, we're getting like 20 to 30 move-ins a week, if not more. Okay. Let's see. I was going to show you what else I'm going to show you. It's kind of fun. I love talking about marketing. So y'all just ask any questions if you think of something too. And then here's ours. Let's see what ours looks like. Yeah. So here's our Google business listing. And I highly recommend looking at our Google business listings because they are amazing. And we update our Google business listing every week. I have 3 people on my team that are managing my Google business listing. Our phone person, our phone manager, manages the Google business listing and has access to it because she's the one that answers all of our reviews. We get a ridiculous amount of reviews and for all of our facilities every day. And so she answers them is what she does. And then we have like our Google Ads person that manages our Google business listings and makes like those are all kind of connected. And then we have our social media person that posts out and she manages them because she comes in and she does like they create this kind of stuff here, our products and then our posts, so I really highly recommend if you're listening to me to look at our Google business listings. I'm very proud of them. And the one thing that we need to work on and get better at is the SEO, and which is it's not hard, it's just time consuming. So we have an in-house SEO person that really does all of our SEO, but we have a lot of facilities because we have 16 facilities. So like, it takes like 1 week just to like do all the stuff for one company. Right? You think 40 hours of work for SEO to get it set up, to get it going, to get it really good, and then monitoring it on like a weekly basis to make sure everything is still up to date is kind of how it is. And so you just have to think about how much, for 16 facilities, kind of a lot. Okay. According to the city data, America has seen an 8% population since, yes, exactly. So thank you for bringing that up. I really appreciate it. So there's an 8% decline in America, so yet we're full. I don't know. You tell me. So, what do you think about that? What does everybody think about that? Thoughts? Because this is something that a lot of people, like, this is even what, like I was saying, my student I was talking about, she's like, there's always, people are moving out. And then, but the truth is that like, I'm going to tell y'all, the truth is, may the best marketer win. That's the game. If you want to get into the storage industry, that is the game. So even if it's oversaturated, even if it's declining market, you can still be full. You can still make money. You can still do it. That facility is always full. We always have a wait list. And we just increased the rates. We just increased the rates on all the, like if any vacancy comes up, we set it up so automatically if a vacancy comes up, it goes up to the next price. So, I mean, I can't tell you to do things or to not do it or do it. I mean, it's really kind of your risk level, like the person I talked to yesterday, she's like super conservative. And so she is like thinking about oversaturation and declining markets and like all this kind of stuff. And so in the end, like she hasn't done any deal at all. And I'm like, may the best marketer win. Like no matter which facility I get, I will make it successful because that's just how I am. Doesn't matter. Just give me a facility. I'll make it successful. Okay. So where are you in that? And like when I ask people to come into the coaching program on a scale from 1 to 10, what is your risk level? Right. And I would say right now in the market, you should be at like an 8, a 9, or a 10. If you're not in those three numbers, then it's very hard for you to get a deal and do a deal and be successful at it. If you are anything below like 8 right now, it is very hard to find a deal. All right, that's my thought process. That's it. That's my spiel for today. Okay, now you can go on to stacyrossetti.com. My course is there. My deal analyzer's there. The coaching programs are there. Turnkey acquisitions are there. The boot camps are there. Anything that you need. And then also, please make sure you register to get notified for the book. I keep saying it's going to come out, and we're like almost there. The truth is, like when you guys watch, it looks like I'm awesome. I got so many facilities. I'm doing great and make it look so easy. But the truth of the matter is that it takes a long time for me to get anything done. It's like slow and steady wins the race. So my book, I've been working on for a long time. Anything that we do, it takes forever. But what I do is I keep moving forward. I do everything that I'm supposed to be doing and I keep moving forward, never at a standstill on anything. Okay. Johnson, how do you know your risk level? Yeah. That's a good question, actually. How do you know your risk level? I don't know. How do you know your risk level? I mean, do you want to make money? Like, do you want income right now? I would say yeah, if you want income right now, cash flow right now from a storage facility, especially anything less than $1 million, it is very hard to do that right now. You will be coming out of pocket for most of your facilities. Okay. If you do not want to come out of pocket, your risk level is less than an 8. Okay. And then you ask yourself, how much am I willing to come out of pocket? So if, like, for instance, we have a student that picked up a facility for $1.2 million and he got it owner finance for $200,000. The property was only 50% full. It's worth, once it's full, $2.5 million. And he's going to have to come out of pocket every month for a year to 2 years, maybe. We don't know how long it's going to take. It's been about 8 months now, and he's not getting filled up. So he's going to come out for another year. So let's say 2 years at $5,000 a month. That's $120,000 a month to stabilize this property. He'll be able to sell it in 5 years once it's stabilized for over $2 million, if not $2.5 million. So he has to come out of pocket $125,000 to make $1 million in 5 years. Is that something that is okay for you? If that's good, if that sounds amazing to you, then your risk level is going to be on the higher end. If you're like, no, I would never do a deal like that, then your risk level is going to be on a lower end. It's going to be harder for you to find a deal right now. Does that make sense? All right. So mismanaged facilities, I talk about them all the time. This is what we buy. We come out of pocket every single month for those facilities. Now, we don't do that anymore with all the facilities, but because they're all pretty much stable. But in the beginning, we were always coming out of pocket. We were always. And then once one got stabilized, we'd take that money and put it into the other facility. We never, our cash flow was always just to take care of facilities and stuff. Okay. Now, in the end, we've got a lot of facilities and we're making money and stuff, but it took a couple of years for us to get to that. Okay. If you want cash flow, your risk level is very low right now. If you are okay with not having cash flow, you're on the upper end. Make sense? Now, if you have a lower risk level, then you need to be looking for cash flowing properties. It's not that they're not out there. It's just that they're few and far between right now. Because what happened, and I talked about this in the beginning, in 2020, all these people started selling their properties because they had become contactless and they had been doing it for 10, 20, 30 years. And then they were they had to change. They had to go online and get their business listings. And they had to figure out how to get a website and go and do contactless and go reservations. And it's just I'm out. So from 2020 on, all these owners were selling these properties. It was this perfect kind of, storm. So all these owners were selling these facilities. Everyone's getting great deals on these facilities. They were getting they were kind of purchasing them at lower cap rates, a little bit higher, but the interest rate was low, right? So this is kind of what happened from 2020 to 2022. Okay. It's perfect storm. And then, but all those people didn't realize that you actually have to work and do stuff and figure stuff out and manage your properties. I thought that storage was just buy it and forget it. You just make money. It's a cash cow. And no, that's not the case. So now from 2023 on, all of a sudden you see all these people that were buying these facilities from 2020 to 2023, selling the facilities. They're having to sell them at higher prices because that's what they owe, because they bought it at a higher price because the interest rate was so low. And so that's why it's so many high prices. It's because they put themselves in this really bad position. And so that's why the prices are so high. And you don't really see a lot of people. You see some older owners now that are selling, but when from 2015 to 2020, there was a ridiculous amount of owners that were older that were selling, and you don't really see that anymore. It's not as much anymore. So what that means is that the storage industry is changing. It's becoming more market, what is not marketed, but it's becoming more not industrialized, but more what's the word? I don't know what the word is. But you know what I'm saying? It's becoming more normal. It's not they're not going to find diamond in the roughs and stuff anymore. You know what I'm saying? Those were the days. Now, there's too many bigger players, commercialized. It's becoming more commercialized now. So you're going to have a lot of competitors and higher prices and this kind of stuff, lower cap rates and things. So it's not a bad time to buy. It's a great time because it's the market's getting lower, but you only have, I talk about this quite often. There's only a small window for you to get into storage because you can't have a lot of storage. right? Storage is based on population, right? And once you get to that point, you'll just be oversaturated and like nobody can make any money, right? So it's going to stop. And I would say like probably within the 5 years. So if you're not going to get into storage like now, it's going to be hard. It's going to get harder every single year to be in storage. Okay. All right. I appreciate y'all all hanging in. Let's see. Noel says small new construction and secondary markets. Yeah. I mean, so even the secondary markets, all the bigger players are getting into. You saw like, CubeSmart is in like secondary. CubeSmart's coming into secondary markets. And next will be other bigger players coming in secondary. You have like Monster and 10 Federal Storage and kind of all these like these smaller, like these bigger players, but they only do secondary markets. And then the tertiary markets, that's all that's going to be left. And then a lot of those are declining markets that you saw. Okay. So like it's a double-edged sword. Put some offers in, put some offers in now is what I'm saying. Get in now, but make sure you look at the marketing, not just like the pricing, the price comparison. Okay. All right. I appreciate you guys hanging out to the end. And I will see you guys at the next session. Take care.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Storage Nerds. Hope this informative conversation inspired you to go out there and jump into this highly profitable business venture that people rarely talk about. Get more tips on storage space investing at www.stacyrossetti.com. Don't forget to subscribe to the show and leave a rating. Together, let's build that thriving passive income one storage space at a time. Until next time.